Welcome to the Sports Machine with Brian and Dean. Friday, January 8th. Great weekend coming up in sports. NFL Hall of Fame finalist. Baseball Hall of Fame talk today. NBA power rankings. Of course, we have the NFL playoff picks and the college championship game. And of course, somebody always has to do something extra and end up on the Really Though segment. This isn't even a person, I don't think.
I guess they'll have to wait. You have to wait and see. Wait and see. No, usually my Really Thoughs is pretty good. Well, both of our Really Thoughs is pretty good, but this one right here.
I'm gonna let you go second today.
You gonna let me go second? Okay. Because I do tend to take up the time. Sometimes I suffer from what they call diarrhea at the mouth. Talking a little too much.
Because I don't feel like mine's up to yours.
Oh no. You gotta go. Worthy of Really Though.
A little too worthy, too serious for Really Though. Too serious for me.
It's almost like you should have played that drop. Why so serious?
Leading off the show today, NFL Hall of Fame finalists. 3 first-timers in Brett Favre, Terrell Owens, and Alan Faneca will be among the finalists. As well, 2 senior finalists, Ken Stabler and Dick Stanfield. And the contributor finalist, which was announced in September, was Edward D. Bartolo Jr., who was a former owner of the San Francisco 49ers. Others make it Steve Atwater, Morton Anderson, Don Coryell, Terrell Davis, Tony Dungy, Kevin Green, Marvin Harrison, Joe Jacoby, Edgerrin James, John Lynch, Orlando Pace, and Kurt Warner. I think Brett Favre, out of the first ballots, is probably the most for sure shoe-in.
Right.
Although I wouldn't be surprised if the other 2 made it as well.
When I see this list, Terrell Owens most definitely goes in on my list. Like far as it's 8 finalists, correct? Like that gets in
A maximum of 8.
8, right? So I think when I see Kurt Warner, most definitely deserves to be there. Ken Stabler, well, I don't understand why he's not already in. I mean, he's only done nothing but win a couple of Super Bowls. His coach, John Madden, is already in the Hall of Fame. John Madden said himself he's not sure how they would have done it without him. Guys made plays. Also gave way to the name for a lot of quarterbacks, a lot of guys who was named the Snake in the NFL, where he was the first Snake. Like, that nickname originally comes from Ken Stabler. Ken the Snake Stabler. Once again, I believe he do get in, and he should have been in. For whatever reason, the NFL voters went full-blown MLB voters, who we'll get into a little bit later.
I mean, if you don't follow the NFL and you hear that he's a nominee and not already in, you just...
I don't understand.
Thank you. Like, are you kidding me? Like, all you have to do is go to NFL.com and look up his highlights and look up some of the plays, like the Sea of Hands. For those of you who are NFL purists, football purists, sports purists, know about the Sea of Hands game. I mean, they done a special on it when, after he passed away, they actually done a special on Ken Stabler and a lot of plays that he made, iconic plays that he made, like the Sea of Hands. You know, they have the Fog Bowl, the Ice Bowl championship. Like, you know, that game the Sea of Hands fell into the category of those iconic games that they gave great nicknames to, you know. Like Dwight Clark's The Catch, they beat the Cowboys, you know. Oh man, I could name so many of them off the top of my head, but then again, I'd take up the whole segment just talking about a lot of plays that he's made. Once again, he should be in on my list. He's in most definitely. He should have been in.
I think the voters will put him in. You have to have a minimum of 80% of the votes,
Yeah.
which is why it's a maximum of 8, but not a guaranteed 8. But out of the top 8.
Mm-hmm.
Moving back to the Terrell Owens conversation, because to me he's the most interesting one, because I feel like Terrell Owens is going to get in the Hall of Fame. He's put up too many stats. I mean,
How long do you think it take before they allow him in?
and that's the problem. It should be one.
Right.
But just look at his stats. You look at Brett Favre, he pretty much owns all the records until Peyton Manning breaks them all. Like,
Right.
You look at it, he's going to have the most consecutive games played record for.
Also has a championship.
Has a championship, and he's gonna get in right away based
Right.
on the stats. Even though, to be honest, he wasn't the nicest guy neither.
No.
You look at Terrell Owens' stats; he ranked second in yards received and third in touchdown receptions, and he had the record for the most catches in the game until recently.
Right.
So when you think about it, Owens, stat-wise, should be in no question.
Right.
Now you get into his on-field antics.
That's that.
I mean, you really gonna hold that against him?
No. Like,
No off-field problems, by the way. I like to remind people, because people think of him as a troubled player when he had no off-field problems.
and see, that's my problem with the issue is for some of the voters, they tend to take this personal. And it was like, why are we really taking this personal right now? When the number, let's just focus on players' play. If their play and their numbers say that this guy deserves to be in, let's get him in. Regardless of how you may have felt about the things that he have done. Could he have done this better? Should he have done that better? That's beside the point, in my opinion.
I feel the same exact way. I always thought the same thing about, the Heisman Award. Is he worthy of a person? Man,
Right.
Stop. It's about to play on the field.
Right.
If it wasn't about to play on the field, it wouldn't have a league.
Exactly. Exactly.
If it was about who the nicest guys were, half these people would be in the NFL and other people be in the NFL doing terrible.
Exactly. Another guy who gets in to me, Orlando Pace.
Yes.
Most definitely should get in. Tony Dungy will most definitely get in.
Tony Dungy's going to get in.
I say Terrell Davis, however you choose to pronounce it, most definitely gets in.
Boy, Atwater, I think
Most definitely.
he deserves to be in.
Most definitely. I mean, you talk about one of the most feared safeties. I guess the closest that most of this era could think of, because I was fortunate enough to see Steve Atwater play when he was playing in Denver, and was one of those most feared safeties. When you come across that middle, you was looking for number 27. You was looking for him. You was looking for Steve Atwater. You talk about a head roller. He rolled some heads. I guess the closest that we could get to him right now, that most people probably remember, that are kind of early 90s or late 90s, the closest you'll be able to get to them is former Washington Redskins safety. I can't believe it's right on the tip of my tongue. I can't believe I forgot his name. But he was one of the most feared hitters. Man, I'm about to spaz out over here. Sean Taylor, there it is. Like I know you was able to see Sean Taylor play, see some of his hits. So it was like you think of Sean Taylor, and then that's what you think of when you hear Steve Atwater. More, I would like to say John Lynch, most definitely. John Lynch, one of the guys who had a great career to me.
I think Kurt Warner is almost a lock.
Right.
Just because of
Most definitely.
how he carries himself, almost, really.
Right. Not to mention.
And his story is.
There it is right there. What's one thing Americans love? A comeback story. And not only a comeback story, but a story of triumph. Dude was one year was bagging groceries at a grocery store trying to feed his family. All of a sudden becomes a Super Bowl MVP, league MVP. Went to the Super Bowl twice.
I mean, if it wasn't for Santonio Holmes,
Would have got two.
would have had to. I mean, that was the greatest catch I've seen.
Mm-hmm.
If people want to talk about Odell Beckham, I was like, nah, that's Santonio Holmes. You put all the pressure on.
When do you think Marvin Harrison will get in? Do you think he deserves to be in this year or later?
He deserves to be in this year.
But you don't
But
think
other people on this list.
More deserving.
The same thing with Edgerrin James to me.
Right.
It's like there's other people on this list. Like to me, Morton Anderson deserves to get in, but he's a kicker, so he kind of always gets pushed to the back.
Right.
You a kicker, you get it
I
eventually.
think most people remember him for that one playoff field goal where he never missed, and then he missed the game when and that's unfortunate.
It is. Have a great career like that. Remember for the one bad play.
Exactly. How it works.
Coming up later on in the show, we are going to get into some of the baseball Hall of Fame talk. Mainly, let's be honest, it's going to be Ken Griffey Jr.
Right.
That's what we're going to talk about.
Most definitely.
Directly up next, we have the NBA Power Rankings, and I won't miss it right here on the Sports Machine. This is the Sports Machine. This is Brian Franklin with the Sports Machine's daily sports ticker. Philadelphia Eagles former head coach Chip Kelly has met with the 49ers about the opening for the head coaching job. Golden State Warriors' Draymond Green has moved into third place in the voting for the Western Conference frontcourt. This will put him into a position to start in the NBA All-Star Game on February 14th in Toronto. NBA scores are as follows. The Hawks blew out the Philadelphia NBA team 126-98. The Celtics lost to the Bulls 101-92. The Rockets rode James Harden's great game of 33 points to a 103-94 victory over the Jazz. The Lakers almost came all the way back from a 27-point deficit, but fell just short, losing to the Kings 118-115. SMU, short-handed after a player gets ejected, played with 6 players, but still came out on top against Cincinnati 59-57. This has been Brian Franklin with today's Sports Machine Sports Ticker. Just went over the NFL Hall of Fame finalists. I haven't talked about the NBA in a while, so I felt the need to at least force the NBA Power Rankings in here.
Most definitely. Unfortunately, the NBA's been taking a backseat just to...
in the NFL season, college season.
Exactly.
So, it happens every year.
Right.
And, everybody knows I'm an NBA guy. I'd rather watch basketball.
Right.
Number one is still the Warriors.
Most definitely.
You only have 2 losses, and one of those was Stephen Curry out of the game.
So 1 and 2 most definitely is the Warriors and the Spurs. We both agree. Most definitely. Okay.
The most amazing part about the Spurs is the fact that only 3 games behind the Warriors.
And you think about that great run, the great record that Golden State has set. Golden State has set up, like they've already achieved a level of history that no other team has ever done before. There's other teams that came before them, but they had 1 loss more than them. I think Jordan's Bulls, they had the 72-10 Bulls. I think at around this time of season they had like 30. They was like 33-2. 33-2. They, like I said, they had like 1 more loss. I think you go back to like from my understanding, from what I read, I think you saw the Celtics. I think they was talking about 60s, 70s, 76ers. There's another team I can't remember, but that's just goes to show you the level of company that they're in. Each one of those teams, by the way, won championships when they held the record like that. So
looking like the Golden State Warriors are the team to beat.
Yeah.
But it almost points out the amazingness of how good the Spurs have been doing on the underground at 31-6. Just
Exactly.
3 games behind them. If the Warriors go through a stretch of losing, they could be right there at second.
In a dogfight that most people is not even talking about.
I mean, people don't know the Spurs are 21-0 at home this season.
Going into San Antonio, as of right now, is a for sure loss. Like that's basically if you going into San Antonio to play them right now, you looking to give them that first L at home.
Golden State is also undefeated at home at 17-0.
Right.
Number 3, I have the Thunder.
Yes.
Just above the Cavaliers at 4.
Most
I
definitely.
like what I see out of the Thunder, and I was talking to you before the show. Had 2 of the most amazing stat lines I've ever seen on one team. You have Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook, and it's hard for me to ask this question, but who is more important? Just look at the stat lines. Kevin Durant averages 26.6 points per game. Russell Westbrook averages 25.2. Rebounds per game. Kevin Durant has 7.8. Russell Westbrook has 6.8. Then you have assists per game, in which Kevin Durant has 4.5. Russell Westbrook has 9.4.
Mm-hmm.
Steals per game, Russell Westbrook 2.5, and I think Kevin Durant's at 1.4 or something. And then at blocks, Kevin Durant has a 1 block advantage.
Right.
Who is more important to this team?
As of right now, I have to say Kevin Durant. Why? Because of the fact that majority of Oklahoma City's losses, let's not forget the beginning of the season. Remember when they was back on the power rankings, it was because we both agreed that it was what? Because they was missing who? Kevin Durant. We both agreed that as of right now, had Kevin Durant had not missed, what was that, a week? At least 3 or 4 games this season, they could be arguing. They could be right. They might be right there with the Spurs.
Warriors.
Exactly. And now we looking at like a 3-way dogfight, a triangle match, as they would say in wrestling. It could be a triangle match between those 3 teams for who's going to come out in the West, or where will the championship run through? What town?
I will say this. I think Kevin Durant is more important than Russell Westbrook.
Mm-hmm.
At the same time, I think Russell Westbrook's the leader of the team.
You can say that. I think from an emotional leader type, because he's always fired up. That's one thing I'll never take away from him. Exactly. Like, I'm not even a fan of Oklahoma City. Everybody knows I'm a huge Mavs fan. I'm a huge hometown sports fan. Like, I can't stand when the Mavs play him, because it's like when this guy gets going, it's like, wow, here we go. That's all you can say is fasten your seatbelts. Things are finna get pretty fast. And you got the assassin, Kevin Durant. I mean, if you're on a run, you talk about somebody who will cool your run.
Oh, yes.
Stop it. Make it come to a complete stop.
That's why I hated the fact that he disliked his nickname Slim Reaper. I was like, dude, that is the greatest nickname they could give you, because you're too calm and cool and collected at all times. It's like, they should be on their heels, and he'll just knock down a 3 in your face, like so.
Exactly.
Like,
and it's
you're on
from
an 8-point run. I just knocked down a 3. So
not only that, he's 6'11", and he's shooting it from Steph Curry range, and just nothing but net, just like a hot knife through butter. And as a defender, you looking like, what else can I do, coach? What else next time he jump, take out his knee, ankle. Like, what else am I supposed to do?
Bounty gate.
There it is. How do you beat Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook and they sleep with the 2x4? That's how you beat them. Back to the deal, man. My bad.
5th, I have the Chicago Bulls.
I have Toronto ahead of them right now.
I don't have a problem with Toronto. I have a few more people in between them and Toronto.
Mm-hmm.
I like what I've seen out of the Bulls lately. I like the team play they've incorporated. Finally, team offense.
Right.
Because they've been relying on either Jimmy Butler, Derrick Rose, or Pau Gasol had to go off for them to win offensive games.
Right.
But now they seem like they can all put it together. See how long that lasts.
Right.
Chicago right now is a drama.
Right.
I'm just waiting to have.
You just don't know what you're going to get from this team from time to time. That's what's frustrating about them. And I was talking to you earlier about Derrick Rose, and I said, man, like, when we was talking about point guard over there in Golden State, that
Sean Livingston.
Right, Sean Livingston, back when he was with the Clippers before those gruesome knee injuries and things like that, how he was setting the league on fire because you wasn't used to seeing a guy who was 6'6" handle the ball and have the court speed, the vision that he had at that moment, at that time when he was playing with the Clippers, and they had who was that? Elton Brand and Chris Kaman, and they actually had a pretty good team that was built mostly around him. But after that, once again, I got it reversed. I got Toronto at 5, Chicago at 6, and then Miami Heat coming in at 7.
I have the Heat at 6.
You do? I mean, Miami Heat, they just gave it to Macau. They gave it to my Mavericks on that little New Year's guy. The Mavericks went from winning a 3-game win streak to just going down in Miami and just Like they just forgot how to play straight Space Jam stats. Like somebody stole their talent.
It happens.
It do.
7, I have the Clippers. Don't like it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't trust them. Don't have enough defense, in my opinion. For having DeAndre Jordan, you'd think they'd be a good defensive team, but they just seem to get in offensive battles way too much. And the fact they have to take DeAndre Jordan out of the game
Right.
from time to time due to free throws is kind of a weakness of theirs.
Right.
Number 8, I have the Raptors coming in.
Number 8, I have Atlanta.
I have them 9.
And then Pacers, I have at 9.
I have the Pacers at 10.
I went homer and grabbed my Dallas Mavericks for number 10. And I don't care. It's a Jekyll and Hyde team, but
Very.
last night I watched them get out there and do their thing. Like first, they was having one of those games again. And granted, it was against the Pelicans, so it's not act like they were. But the Pelicans was playing good basketball. They was playing like the team that most people expected them to be. And Mavericks locked it down in the middle of the third quarter defensively, getting key stops and then running the basketball. And I was like, and the thing was, they done all this without Dirk, without Zaza. They done it without 4 starters. And that's what I found. That's what I thought was impressive, that they locked down defensively and they went out there and was able to score baskets in transition.
The reason I don't have the Dallas Mavericks in my top 10 is, I'll just list my bottom 5.
Right.
I have the Heat. Chris Bosh comes to mind. Clippers, you got Griffin, Chris Paul comes to mind.
Right.
Raptors, DeMar DeRozan, Kyle Lowry.
Right.
The Hawks are the exception to that rule. And then the Pacers, I think, of Paul George.
Right.
The Mavericks, I don't know who to say.
Exactly.
Just same thing with the Hawks. It's like, you have a whole bunch of role players. It's just, if you got team basketball, it's really nice. But y'all like the Spurs.
Right. I can understand that. So I can't battle you on that due to the fact that
Dirk in his prime could carry this team.
yeah, exactly. But then even then, I've seen in some of the games I watch. I know stars miss shots, but once upon a time, leaving Dirk Nowitzki wide open behind a 3-point up was automatic. And sometimes I've seen him just
cringe at the fact that you saw him open. It's like, how do we do that?
like, God, he just straight missed it. It's like, God, he missed it bad, like off the back rim type of that. I was like, come on, Dirk. Even when we was at the game, but once again, I look at this team and they're right now still 5th off in the division, and with the Clippers just a little bit ahead of them at fourth.
I was high on them before the season. I like the team they put together. They do have a lot of good players. It's just, I want that one guy.
And it's funny because you had them higher than me, because I had them being back feeders that probably struggling to get in the 8, but then the West is not looking like what the West
was supposed to look like.
Exactly.
Like I said, I was high on them before the season, and I'm still relatively high on them when it comes to the Western Conference. Like I said, I just want to see that one guy. Like, I think they can compete with the Clippers with no doubt.
Most
Them
definitely.
top 3 teams, though.
Right.
The Thunder, Spurs, and Warriors. Nobody wants to see none of them.
Not in the first round.
No.
Especially not the first round.
Not the first round.
It's an early exit, courtesy of a sweep.
Changing gears on the sports machine. Moving to baseball. Hall of Fame. Before we get into Ken Griffey talk, because it's going to take up this whole segment, because we all know how we are. And looking forward to next year, what do you think about Manny Ramirez and Pudge Rodriguez as PED users, but not heavy? Like, we know the Barry Bondses, and those were the heavy users. You had Manny Ramirez at the end of his career get kind of caught up. Same thing with Pudge Rodriguez. We're in Texas, so we
big on Pudge Rodriguez, right?
he making it in mine. I'm
Right.
putting all of them in.
Right.
I'm into forgiving PED. If everybody was using them, I don't see how it's an advantage.
Exactly. But my deal with that is they're going to be the first of many. Like, and the thing is, baseball, the voters, the same voters who decided that one particular player who done it the right way, as baseball purists say.
We're gonna put them on blast already. I was kind of
You was kind of leading them into it.
building that up.
All right, we'll build it up then. Well,
Somebody's getting put on blast this segment. 3 people.
3. One guy does it the right way, and then you have the rest of the guys coming up that are going to be in some way, shape, form, or fashion has been connected to PED use. So it's like prepare themselves.
Shout out to Manny Ramirez, because in that interview, he had an interview and they spoke to Manny Ramirez and they basically asked him, this is not quotes because I'm just short phrasing it.
Right.
Do you think other players that made the Hall of Fame have used PEDs but not been caught? He just dodged the question completely. He says, I just enjoy playing baseball. Went on. He did not pretty much acknowledge it at all. He says,
right.
I don't pay attention to those things. And he dodged the question over.
Right.
But shout out to him for not snitching on nobody.
Right.
Because he could have just said, yeah.
I know for a fact. Just went full-blown Jose Canseco.
I mean, he doesn't have to say names, but he could have.
I know for a fact there's some
at least
people in there right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To make it easier for him to make it. But, he didn't put nobody on blast.
No.
He pretty much in the interview just said he made mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes. And
keep it pushing. And I can respect that too. Like I said, he's not trying to drag anybody down to anybody's level.
He didn't go Lance Armstrong.
Right. And start pointing everybody out. Well, he do it, they do it, and everything else is, look, man, and not to mention, let's be for real, Manny Ramirez still getting paid.
Oh, he's
so he doesn't have anything to be
Manny's
upset
still
about.
Being Manny, chilling.
Right. Like, people forget, like, he still had Boston and a couple of LA, I think. Yeah, they still paying him some dope. That guaranteed money, they basically were still paying this guy to go away. He went away.
2022.
Exactly.
I think he gets paid till like 2022.
Can't be mad at that. Can't be mad at that. You know how hard 2022 is? Think about it.
Man, it's not hard. It's like 6 years.
Yeah, but for the next 6 years, this guy's not. When was the last time he was even, like, just took a.
I mean, he was in the minor leagues, I think, a couple years ago.
Nah, minor leagues ain't gonna cut it, though. Like, pro, but, yeah, but.
I mean, he was doing it for the love of the game. If you're going to get paid until 2022 and you play in the minors, at least he got respect for the game, even though people did bash him.
Yeah.
So he didn't have love for the game. It's like, nah, he does.
Just not the way y'all think he should have.
He likes
love
to have
for
fun.
Right.
I'm sorry he has fun playing the game. I know it's baseball and you have to do things the right way.
I think what we all tend to forget that a lot of these guys is millionaires off of child's game.
There's a reason. They'll never have to grow up.
Right.
Let them be kids, all right?
Right.
It's okay for them to celebrate. You wish you could at your job.
Exactly.
On to this year's, the ones that made it. Mike Piazza, one of them, Let's just get to it. Ken Griffey Jr. made it. Ken Griffey Jr. made it. We just talked about some people that did things the wrong way.
Right.
Ken Griffey Jr. did it the right way.
Right.
Made it, rightfully so. Now the percentage was 99.3, I believe.
Right.
99.3%. That sounds like a high number.
Right.
You do the math. That means 3 people believe that Ken Griffey Jr. is not a Hall of Famer.
And so you begin to sit there and ask yourself, why
I don't
not?
understand.
Exactly. Like, excuse me? Like, this is the one guy who you can point to and say, as far as in that era go, besides him and Derek Jeter, you can point to and say, if you are a baseball purist or if you got your kids playing baseball, those 2 guys are one of the few guys who you can show tape to and say, this is how you played the game. And this dude did, and don't get me wrong, once again, we nitpicking, but at the same time, it's a rightful nitpick.
I'm nitpicking.
Right.
You wanna know why? Because these 3 people were the problem with humanity.
As we go into the world of the haters.
That's all they could be doing, just hating on success.
Right. I want to know the names of the guys. Like, I think, put like anybody who has a vote in any Hall of Fame, baseball Hall of Fame, hockey Hall of Fame, NFL Hall of Fame, NBA Hall of Fame,
NFL Top 100 on NFL Network. I'd like to know names.
Exactly. So my point is, we should have the right. If we have the right to question these players after each and every game, they have to come talk to the media. The guys who are in the media who has that vote should have to come forward and and explain their voting process as well. If another member of the media steps to them and says, "Hey, man, can you tell me why you thought Ken Griffey Jr. wasn't a unanimous guy?" When, according to our criteria, according to the media criteria, according to the way we think baseball should be, why is it that you thought that he wasn't the first ballot Hall of Fame? And not only what was your reason for it, but would you have voted him in next year into the Hall of Fame, or when would you have voted him in? Like, I want to ask them that questions. Now, if they just tell me, like I said, hey, I just didn't feel like, he was, okay, that's fine. That's your reason. But
Nope.
I want to know, like, what was your mind frame? What was your mind frame? Like, what made you think, when you saw Ken Griffey's name come across, and you look at his numbers, and you look at how he's played till he's 40, and he's done it the right way. He just didn't get jacked up and extra big and start jacking home runs. Even as he got to his later stages, not his last 2 years, and when you look at his last 5-year stretch, 3 years out of those 5, he was still being walked. He was still being feared as a bat. So that's 35, 36 years old right there. They were still fearing him. Barry Bonds style, like.
You said something that cop up. If they just say, nah, I just didn't feel like he would.
Say it again. Say something.
I'm not okay with that answer. No.
Say something else.
I want you to explain to me
Say something
how you felt that he was Hall of Fame when I start listening to people that have made the Hall of Fame.
Right.
And you think they're better than him.
So let me ask you this:
Like, I need.
if they give you a question, if they give you an answer like that, would you call for them to resign their position as a voter?
Yes, obviously don't know baseball. I don't know enough about baseball to be a baseball Hall of Fame voter, and I know that.
Right.
Perfect. Now, if NBA hit me up or the Naismith Hall of Fame, now maybe I can go with some basketball,
Right.
maybe football.
Right.
Baseball, I don't know enough. College, I don't know enough. I'm willing to admit that as a person. Like, those aren't my heaviest sports. I can talk about them. I know enough about the sport and
Right.
current sport to talk about it. I do enough research,
Right.
but it's not my trademark.
Right.
If you don't think Ken Griffey Jr. deserves to be a Hall of Famer, you don't know enough about baseball.
Right.
Plain
Plain and simple.
Three of y'all should be fired.
So
in
let me
my
ask
opinion.
you this real quick. When Derek Jeter time comes up, and it's going to be coming up pretty soon, will he break Ken Griffey Jr.'s record at the 99.3 and actually get the 100%?
No.
No?
As we go into the world of the
I
haters.
have no reason to believe not. I would have believed that Ken Griffey would have been 100.
Right. Even though he doesn't have a championship. That's the deal. Like, we saying he deserves 100%, even though he doesn't have a championship, even though in baseball, it's the one sport where you can actually take out
He's Seattle.
a key, you can actually take away a key guy by simply walking him.
That's what I'm saying. It's Seattle.
Like, you can actually take away, like,
It's too much of a team game.
in no other sport can you actually just completely shut out a team's key guy. In any sport that I know
You at
of.
least get the opportunity
Right.
as a key guy.
Right.
In any sport, you get the opportunity.
In baseball, if you were anything like
Except for you can get
Barry Bonds
You
was.
can make defensive plays, but you can't do nothing on offense.
Exactly. They can completely take you out of the game. And from then on, it's like, okay, not everybody's Jackie. Not everybody's Jackie. Not everybody's going to, you going to walk me? Okay, here.
I mean, Ken
Still
Griffey
these-
was good at
Still these
bases
bases.
too, though.
Yeah, he was, but
I mean, he wasn't Ricky Henderson, but
yeah.
he was good.
Ricky was that dude, though. Ricky was that dude.
That's the dude I wanted to be. That's all I wanted to do was steal bases. I don't even care about
I
batting.
agree with you like that.
I
Let me
don't
tell you
care
why.
about
'Cause
batting, no.
if I stole bases from somebody, I want to be that dude who looked at my bench and started doing Super Saiyan levels or something like, I'm Super Saiyan level 1 right now, charging up. Here I go, still in second.
When you're still home, you go instant transmission.
Oh man, screaming! I'm talking full blown anime scream. I got they fans hating me, but our fans loving me. Like, you know me, man. I got a heck of an imagination. When my imagination started to roam, I start bunkaiing on cats, man.
You wouldn't get walked, you'd get beamed.
according to
Baseball rules.
right. He's showing up the pitcher, even though the pitcher can fist pump when he strike out about 50 people.
You can also walk around the mound 10 times before you pitch the ball. Moving on. From on the sports machine, coming up, we will discuss the college championship game between Clemson and Alabama.
I am Dwayne Dean with your Sports Machine News Update. 2 blockbuster title fights will headline a UFC 197 pay-per-view event March 5th in Las Vegas. Newly crowned featherweight champion Conor McGregor will move up in weight and challenge lightweight champion Rafael Dos Anjos for the 155-pound championship. In the co-main event, female bantamweight champion Holly Holm will set her first title defense against Miesha Tate. Bleacher Report first reported the matchup. Multiple sources have confirmed the bouts to ESPN. Beyonce is returning to the Super Bowl halftime show, Pepsi confirmed to the Associated Press on Thursday. The 34-year-old singer will perform at the February 7th show at Levi Stadium in Santa Clara, California. Bruno Mars is also expected to be on stage with Coldplay. For the second time this season, Houston Rockets guard Todd Lawson has been suspended by the NBA for alcohol-related offense. Lawson was suspended 3 games without pay for driving under the influence of alcohol in violations of laws in California. The violation occurred in Los Angeles in July, just months after he was arrested for a similar offense in Denver in January 2015. The league suspended Lawson 2 games for that offense. Dallas Mavericks owner Mark Cuban remains bullish on daily fantasy sports despite the controversy surrounding the industry. Daily fantasy sports analyst company Fantasy Labs announced Thursday that it has secured an investment from Cuban. The company provides subscribers with analytics, including player trends and Las Vegas odds, to develop and test models for creating fantasy lineups. I am Dwayne Dean with your Sports Machine News Update. Sports Machine.
Sports Machine with Brian and Dean went over the NFL Hall of Fame finalists, NBA Power Rankings, and Major League Baseball Hall of Fame, mainly King Griffey Jr., and 3 particular voters. I wish I knew their names so I can put them on blast.
They were so close to being really dope, but I found something better.
I did too. That's why I wanted to make sure we did a segment about it for those 3 people to feel like they weren't left out.
Had they been on the really though, I think we'd have had an extended really though.
It might have been.
Most definitely.
Now it's time to talk about the championship game, the college football playoff. It's funny, we're actually gonna have a show Monday before the game, but we'll go ahead and pick it now.
Most definitely.
Alabama versus Clemson. Alabama's a 7-point favorite. You think that's a little big?
I think it's disrespectful.
I think it's pretty disrespectful.
It's like
I appreciate you also coming to the same conclusion.
I'm not gonna lie. Like, and the thing was, after the game, after the Crimson Tide just completely rolled over the Spartans. I mean, they rolled tide on the Spartans. That's when the Las Vegas odds came up. It was like, there are a 7-point favorite. Good God, really? Not 1 point or not 2 or not even 3. They said 7. What?
May I remind that Clemson is
All because Coker had a decent.
Is it possible to improve on perfection?
Yes, Clemson is undefeated.
Yes.
And Alabama is not.
What is one team? The one type of player that Alabama has struggled against, period, is scrambling quarterbacks. Deshaun Watson so happened to be who?
Deshaun Watson, a beast.
The best scrambling quarterback in all of college football.
He's the best. I don't know about
Dual threat quarterback. I think he's the best.
Trayvon.
Crap, dude. Yeah.
I know Trayvon Boykin, your boy.
Yeah, man. I gotta put my foot in my mouth on that one because Trayvon is my dude. I don't care what he done got into.
The miscellaneous.
Right. That's the off-field stuff.
I would probably give Deshaun Watson at college level. I'll give Deshaun Watson an edge.
Yeah.
If you're talking about moving up to the next level, Trayvon Boykin might be a better NFL
Right.
type quarterback.
Either way.
7 points.
Yes.
7-point difference.
And see, the thing is, when Alabama beat them, they beat them because of the fact that young Kelly over there was a dual threat quarterback. Not the best dual threat quarterback, but a dual threat quarterback none the more, none the less. And he gave them fits. And that's why everybody was like, Alabama lost to Ole Miss. Like, wait a minute. And then Ole Miss goes and just completely dominates Oklahoma State. I mean, made Oklahoma State look like they should. Like, what are y'all even doing in Louisiana? I mean, y'all game is still in Stillwater. You got your players showed up in uniform, but the game was still in Stillwater. Y'all left that back there with, Christmas break.
One thing I'm worried about Clemson is their rush defense and going against Henry. Because Henry is that dude.
Right. He is.
I mean, Heisman for a reason.
Right.
And, the Clemson rush defense is not necessarily the greatest.
Mm-hmm.
They've been able to get by with it.
But you want to know one thing that when I look at this game, what I do is I do exactly what Michigan State tried to do. We're going to make your quarterback beat us again. Like, if you're going to beat us, Derrick Henry is not going to beat us. We'll put up as many people as we need to put up there, and we're going to rely on our secondary to hold it down. Put them out there on that island and say, hey, you guys are going to be you guys are going to be the reason we win or lose. Because, once again, I'm not sure if Alabama quarterback can do what he did again.
I don't think so.
Like,
not against Clemson.
Like when you look at the regular season, it doesn't say that. Like, you get what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't say that. Oh man, he could. Yeah, he had some good games this season. He's had some decent games prior to the Cotton Bowl, which was a phenomenal game for him. Like, I'm not taking that away from him, but to say he could do that again against another top defense, I don't think so.
When I look at all I hear all the time is SEC defenses.
Right.
And now they're talking about, well, Clemson offense isn't going to be able to do what they do against Alabama because Alabama's got that defense.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw what Kelly did to Alabama.
Mm-hmm. And
I'm over here looking at Deshaun Watson stats when he has more rushing or has the same amount of rushing touchdowns as he has interceptions.
Mm-hmm.
That would be 12 rushing touchdowns.
Exactly.
And 31 passing, by the way.
If they cannot contain Deshaun Watson with that defense, he'll have over 100. He'll have at least 100 yards by halftime like he did Oklahoma State.
Yes, I believe so. He has 1,032 rushing yards on the season.
And the crazy thing about it is, what's kind of went under the radar about this team is the fact that they still have another couple of running backs that run the football well with Clemson.
Yes.
Now, granted, I understand that Bama's front seven they have some studs, and then not only their starter studs, but then the backups to those starters are studs. But you can run them dry too. Like, backups can get run down too. I don't care how often you tend to run them in. Once the guy starts busting out, when they start hitting you with the read options, and they start calling those design quarterback runs, in the mind of a player, now you're starting to think what? You're starting to think a little too much. Instead of just acting, instead of performing what you know how to do, now you're thinking. And once you begin to think too much, well, you know how that go.
See, Deshaun Watson takes a lot of the rushing away from the running back, which is why Wayne Gallman is underrated, because people talk about Henry and how they have the edge in the running back position. Well, really, you look at it, he has almost 100 carries more than Gallman.
Right.
So him having about 600 more yards makes sense. The difference in yards per carry is 0.2.
Wow, so it's really not a difference at all.
It's 5.7 for Henry and 5.5 for Gallman. And then you throw Deshaun Watson in the mix.
Right.
I think Clemson has the offensive edge. I don't even think it's close.
Yeah.
And Alabama probably has a defensive edge.
And we both agree that only reason why Bama even offensively is in the mix is because they do have the guy who they can hand the ball off. And I'm not mentioning, Alabama's O-line, they got some monsters up front, but it doesn't do you any good if Clemson jumps ahead in this game. Watch out, Roll Tide. Because now you put yourself in a position where now your quarterback is forced to throw the ball. Like, I'm talking forced to make downfield plays. You can take Derrick Henry out the game, not just with 8 men in the box, but you could take him out the game by going up. If you can go up at least 14 points early, now you begun to got the young quarterback over there thinking over there in Alabama.
Oh yes. Now neither one of us have given our pick on this game. Do you want to wait till Monday?
I believe I'll wait. Even
We're gonna wait till Monday.
Yeah, I'm willing to wait on Monday. I think yeah, let's tease him up for the show. Who knows? The way it happens, something may come up over the weekend where key players may get suspended.
Oh.
It happens. It's just ask TC.
Yeah, we all saw Trayvon.
Exactly.
So, some people right now, you know what they're doing to us right now? They're trying to.
Yep. It's what they call teaser people.
You got to.
Relax.
It's coming. Things in sports that just make you say, really though. As I said before, I'll go first on this one. I'll try not to take too long.
Knock yourself out, man. You never do.
Mine goes to a Cleveland mom, which I refuse to say the name of because I don't like giving away free publicity to people that don't deserve it.
Mm-hmm.
Now this mom's son was shot in an incident with the police, and my regards go to the family, her as well. And I know it's terrible and it makes you make weird decisions. And she said she was saddened by the fact that LeBron James has not spoken out about her son. Quote, I'm not asking him to sit out a game. I know his kids got to eat too, but you could at least put on a shirt or something. All right, not too bad. She goes on to say, I think they should just make a statement. I'm not asking nobody to quit their job or anything, but make a statement for us black people out here. Really though, you were begging for a pro athlete to speak out about your son's incident. Why would you want that? Who really wants the attention?
Right.
Because she acknowledges that a few pro athletes have already spoken out about the death of her son. So why is it you on LeBron James? The only reason I can think about that is you want the publicity. Now LeBron James, his statement is wonderful. You know, LeBron James always says the right things. He's a great dude.
Right.
And he basically says, skipping through some of it, I understand that any lives that's lost, what we want more than anything is prayer and the best for the family, for anyone. But for me to comment on the situation, I don't have enough knowledge about it.
Right.
I understand why she's upset because he did wear a I Can't Breathe shirt.
Right.
Once before.
Right.
But that was more nationally known.
Right.
I understand this happened in Cleveland, so you want him to go out, but if he doesn't have enough knowledge on the situation, I don't think he should make an opinion.
Exactly.
So my really though isn't really just, I'm not mad at the mother, but I just like people
Stop with the race baiting.
Exactly. Like you raising hatred. That's what it looks like to me.
Right.
You trying to raise hatred, and I don't push hatred forward.
Right.
You can go ahead.
My really though goes out to the Golden State Warriors. According to ESPN senior writer Darren Rovell, here's the headline. Putting Warriors' new arena near ER could cause deadly traffic delays.
That's a great wordplay.
The reason being because Golden State is in the mix of getting a new arena being built, and you had to know it was coming. Me personally, I don't see anything wrong with Oracle because it's still the loudest concrete arena, only concrete arena, I believe, in the NBA, which is why it gets so loud like it do. But they're looking to build a new stadium that just so happened to be near a children's hospital. Really though? Golden State, come on, man. Like, Really? Next to a children's hospital?
Sometimes you just gotta be patient.
Yo, that's how it start. Not the babies, fam. I mean anything, but not the babies. Next to a children's hospital, we gonna build up our arena now. God forget, I have asthma. I'm an asthmatic. Had it really bad, not as bad as I did have it as a kid growing up, but I've had some bad asthma attacks as a kid. Now, someone kid has an asthma attack and they need to get to that children's hospital. Guess what? There's gridlock traffic in California because gridlock traffic is also they known for gridlock traffic in some places in California. Now your kid is sitting over there, can't breathe. I can't breathe. Needing to get up, needing to get some help. Can't get the help. Why? Because it's gridlock traffic. Because who's in town? The San Antonio Spurs playing who? Oh, the Golden State Warriors. Where's the arena located? Oh, right down the street from the Children's Hospital. My God, man. Really though, Golden State, move the place. Let's not go into a lawsuit behind it. Just move it, please.
At least they get to catch a killer game while they.
10 points. I need to get that little bell thing. Ding, ding. I'm gonna ding it every time.
That's too serious for me to joke about. Oh well, that's what I do.
Bringing you the serious and not so serious side of sports.
Sometimes the serious not taken serious. Moving on to the NFL playoff picks. Usually it'll be a pick 6, but there's only 4 games, so y'all gonna have to deal with it. Y'all getting hustled today on your money. Starting with Saturday. Chiefs going to Houston, although they have the better record.
Mm-hmm.
That's a weird. Real quick, do you think that's a good rule? The division winners automatically host the game.
Yeah, it is, but I can understand why. Like, you did win your division, you deserve to host it. Forget it.
I don't have a problem with it either. It's actually kind of interesting.
Right. I mean, only reason why we could knock it is because when it was no different when Seattle had that below 500, right, and then they turn around and beat the defending Super Bowl champions or champs from about almost a year ago, and it was because they was off in that stadium that tends to get pretty crazy. Some people would argue, Saints deserved that home game, but hey, it was what it was.
So Chiefs going to Houston. Who pulls out the win?
The Chiefs. I like Brian Hoyer, and I just think that matchup, Marcus Peters and DeAndre Hopkins, I think Marcus Peters will win that matchup mainly based on the fact that you have a quarterback who's not used to playing in these situations. Brian Hoyer is a young quarterback and not used to a playoff field game. You got some guys on Kansas City who's used to a playoff field game. One, Alex Smith, who's played in the Super Bowl. Houston's defense is no slouch. Like, seriously, I'm not bad. It's not going to be their defense fault. But some people will blame it on the defense because they're going to wind up being out there on the field a lot. Yeah. And eventually, like, when the levees break, the levees is going to break.
I'm taking Houston because I feel like that's the direction in which Houston was going in.
Yeah.
The defense is on a roll.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think the Chiefs' offense is just exemplary either. And I believe they'll hold the Chiefs to under 10 points.
They're not, but I like their height. I like their dual running backs that they use over there. I like that, and I like that to be able to open up the passing game. And once again, we got a guy in Alex Smith who's, he's deceptive in his scrambling. Like, he can get out the pocket and extend the play a little longer than expected. When it comes to defenses, I just think that the Chiefs' defense is just a little bit better than the Texans' defense, and that's why my pick is.
I think that's where we differ. So I think the Texans' defense is a little bit better than the Chiefs, in my opinion. And it's in Houston, so it's kind of easy for me to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Moving on to the next game, Pittsburgh Steelers going to Cincinnati to play the Bengals. Division matchup.
I'm not gonna lie to you. My pick is full-blown Homer Cowboy. Because
you going against the Steelers because of the Super Bowl thing?
No, well, not just because they already won up on the Cowboys in the Super Bowl point, but I saw a stat on Twitter today, released by NFL.com, and it said that the Steelers are one game behind the Dallas Cowboys in having the most playoff victories. No.
I mean, no.
Yeah, they are. They're like, I think Cowboys have 34,
The Steelers are probably,
and then they have 33.
Steelers are probably going to pass them
Yeah.
soon,
No, not right
even
now.
if it's not this year. You have
It won't be this game. It won't be in this game. So
Right.
therefore, Cincinnati, AJ McCarron, you compared yourself to the likes of Tom Brady wanting to come in and do it. Well, you better do your job, man. Please.
You know what he's going to do? He's going to lose to the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Oh man.
Ben
Another reason why I picked
Roethlisberger
the
versus-
Bengals is because of the fact that we're not sure what they gonna get out of D'Angelo Williams. Bad
you
bad
talking
ankle
about?
injury. Bad ankle injury.
Me-
Because he went
Why
down
not?
Sunday for an ankle injury. Check it out. He did. He went down with an ankle injury. It's day to day.
I don't care about that. That's not why I'm getting upset over here.
Say it again. Say something else.
I don't know what I'm getting out of D'Angelo Williams, but I know what I'm getting out of AJ McCarron over here.
They have a run game. They have a dual threat run game with Giovanni Bernard. They have some receiver threats like
You didn't even name
AJ
Jerry Hill.
They have some receiver threats like AJ Green,
Antonio
Muhammad
Brown doesn't
Sanu,
exist.
Tyler Eifert. Yeah, he do. He exists like truly.
Yeah,
he
he
do.
exists.
But let's not act like past couple.
Martavius Bryant doesn't exist.
He's good. He
Ben
good.
Roethlisberger isn't better than AJ McCarron by
2
miles
Super
and
Bowls.
miles.
Yep. That's true too. But Ben Roethlisberger the past couple of weeks has been turnover prone. If he turns the ball over in this game, they will lose. And I want him to turn the ball over.
He turned the ball over one time, they lose.
Here comes Santa Claus.
If he turns over, especially if he goes gift basket,
He's not gonna go get his basketball. I wanted to.
I'm
was
almost
for
willing
you.
to say he would have two. Ben Roethlisberger, if he has 2 interceptions, they're done. Done.
I
Go
I
ahead.
think AJ McCarron might go full blown.
Here comes Santa Claus.
Nah, because I think what they're going to do is they're going to run that football. They're going to run the football. That would be their best bet for a young quarterback.
That's
Who's,
their best bet, but if they can't do it, they got 8 people in the box, and they
then
force
what
them
you
to throw
do
the
is
ball.
you don't go clapping Garrett and call tight end screens. you don't go full blown clapping Garrett. You find ways to get him through running back screens, wide receiver screens. You create a run game.
Tyler Eifert's gonna get a screen.
That happens. They're gonna shoo Marvin Lewis out of town. So
Marvin Lewis been there
Fast.
forever. Ain't nobody shooting him out of town. Marvin Lewis is gonna be there for a minute. Moving on to Sunday. The Seahawks go into Minnesota.
Mm-hmm.
The Seahawks have all the momentum while the Vikings are struggling.
right.
Is this gonna be a one-sided game?
I don't think so. At first I did until I knew the time of the game, right? When I saw the time of the game and then I saw the weather.
You gonna steal the reason I have an upset coming.
You did I apologize, dude.
No.
I was trying to steal your thunder, my man.
good.
That was my intent.
I have the Vikings winning because it's gonna be 4 degrees.
No, I'm not picking the Vikings to
I'm
win.
picking the Vikings because
Yeah, well, I'm going with Seattle, but I'm saying like at first, when I saw the matchups as of Sunday and Monday, I was like, oh, Seattle's gonna handle.
I
it.
was leaning towards Seattle as well until I saw the 4 degrees.
Yeah, and exactly. I'm like, okay, we all know about the whole team moving from Western time zone to Eastern time zone in early games. We know the record. It's not a good record at all. But once again, I think this team can rely on their defense to make them. I think the Seattle defense can make more plays than the Vikings defense can make plays.
I believe that as well.
And
I
so
believe
that's
the
why-
Vikings have a running game they can rely on.
It's going to be an actual close, good game. But I think Seattle, with the championship pedigree that they have, will come out on top in this game. It won't be like how Seattle came into Minnesota and blowed them out a few weeks ago in mid-December. It won't be nothing like that game. It's going to be one of those games where it's going to be it could be a 17-14 or a 2017 type game.
I'm about to go full-blown hater.
As we go into the world of the haters.
I want this to be a really close game.
Mhm.
And then the Seahawks down like 4.
Mhm.
And they're driving. And Russell Wilson goes full-blown.
Here comes Santa Claus.
Gift basket. Just because of how much everybody hyped him up this year. and how like he's been interceptionless and all this. I went full blown hater right there.
Okay.
That has nothing to do with Russell Wilson. I just think it'd be funny. It's not Russell Wilson's fault he got hyped up.
It's like he said in the movie Batman. Some men do things out of money. Some men do things just because they like to see the world burn.
There you go. Last game, Green Bay Packers going to Washington. Green Bay's only favored by 1 point.
They shouldn't be favored at all.
You think that Washington's going to win?
Washington has a thing for playing at home. So does Kirk Cousins. The worst thing that could have happened to Green Bay was the fact that they not going to go play their division rival after they played them a week later. In my opinion. But, I mean, it couldn't be set up that way, but it's like you'd rather play a foe that you already used to playing against instead of a foe that you're not. I'm picking the Redskins to win this game mainly because of the fact that that game in Landover, Maryland they're going to be rocking. This team, they can beat you deep with a few guys. They also can run the ball. And let's not mention, this tight end that they have over there in Washington is starting to look like a top 5 tight end, arguably.
Oh, yeah, he does.
And
I like the Redskins' weapons now.
Right.
And their defense.
Right. And so I feel like the Redskins will take this game. I'm not going to go forward like they're going to just handle them. Like you said, I guess I'll take your approach to what you said to Russell Wilson.
I think Aaron Rodgers is going to
start driving, and somehow, some way, either he gets stripped, either it's a strip sack that ends the game, or incomplete pass on 4th down to try to tie the game up. Like one of those type of games.
I think it's going to be a closer game.
Mm-hmm.
I do have the Packers winning based on the fact they have Aaron Rodgers and the Redskins have Kirk Cousins. I'm still not sold on Kirk Cousins.
I understand. It's hard for me to pick a division rival to go in and win a game.
Thank God it's not Philly.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Your hatred for Philly is almost unfounded.
Yo. And I'm proud of that hatred. That's my boy just straight said something about hatred is not necessary. Here I go.
That's cool. I went full hatred mode too. Great week. Looking forward to a great sports weekend coming up. We will go over our picks that we made in the NFL, next week's matchups possibly, and of course we're gonna have to do our picks of that championship game.
Most definitely.
Coming up right here on the Sports Machine.
Peace out.